Welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Hold on, Gabe. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, here he goes.
Nick here.
Gabe, the Night Watchman.
And people were like, Nick, where's your hat? You need it for them to win. I had it like in my bathroom, like in a nice safe spot. Didn't need it today because India took care of business. Like Gabe says, they held court, right? And we are celebrating. Me and Gabe are both celebrating the fact that India won today and that for all intents and purposes, they should be number one in the rankings for T20 International. So happy about it. Gabe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I got to say, this was a very interesting match. I have some thoughts about the entire series, obviously, and this match today. Some things I liked, some things I hated on both sides, honestly. But, man, England came in as the number one T20 side in the world, right? And with this win, 3-2 win, India now has overtaken them as the number one T20 side in the world. And as a West Indies fan, it's concerning because I've seen a lot of good play on both sides. So I'm like, oh my gosh, now. And some people may be confused, like you were rooting for England. I was rooting for England because I'm rooting against Nick, and he's a big India fan. But I'm from the West Indies. That's my squad. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, both these teams look super dangerous. So I just want to get into today, Nick. Right away, I want to start with what I loved. And there were so many things to love on both sides. And normally we pick, specific sides or whatever. But this was such a polarizing match. I'm going to go ahead and talk about both sides, what I loved. All right. First and foremost, I got to say, I've been calling for Sky, and I wasn't live streaming Sky's debut when he scored 57, but I was live streaming this one. And this is why we were calling for Sky. This guy has such control of his bat. It's ridiculous, bro. You know what I'm saying? He is so, even the way he got out, for those people that didn't watch it live, he crushed a ball that was a 6. And Jordan somehow ran, jumped, caught it like in midair as he's running. It was an unbelievable catch, but that was a 6. He did not get dismissed cheaply. And you watch Sky play, and you're just like, oh my God, this is why I was calling for him. And I was super, super impressed with Sky's performance. So I just got to say right off the bat, I absolutely love Sky's performance, and I'm happy for that. On the England side, all right, what did I like? Come on, David Malan. I was shocked when we were watching the IPL auction and he was left unpurchased, right? And then on the second day, I guess they purchased him. But on the first day, like, this guy's the number one T20 player in the world. And he showed it today. He was putting in work, cousin. And listen, England lost, and it wasn't his fault. Milan, 68 runs on 46 balls, a 147 strike rate. All right. He was an absolute savage. When I tell you he was a savage, he was an absolute savage. Butler, I've said many a times, for England, their best squad is when Butler is behind behind the stumps as a wicket keeper. And I get it. Folks is a lot better with the defense. But Butler, 52 runs on 34 balls, all right? Butler can give you these kind of performances, whether it's T20, whether it's ODI, frankly, whether it's Test, we've seen him put up. And you need that because sometimes, especially in a lot of games, England's middle order falters. So you need those guys, and especially their opening and Test with Rory Burns, they struggle. So you need a guy that could put up runs. So I think Butler is a mainstay in all three formats. He showed it today again. Man, Butler was super impressive. I think that for me, he's above folks, and obviously he's above Bairstow. And I get it that Bairstow and ODI is also a monster, and we'll talk about Bairstow later. But I think Butler may be their third best player. Honestly, I think behind Ben Stokes, and Joe Root overall, he's their third best player. And the bowling, I tell you, it's so tough. It's so tough today as I'm watching this game and seeing guys get absolutely obliterated, not pumped, Nick, obliterated. And we'll talk about that later, but absolutely obliterated. But on the bowling side, you know what? 4 overs, 31 runs and a wicket, Rashid. And
That
it
was
was
your best
funny as
performance.
Rashid opened up, and I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't they go with the pace with the new ball? Come after them with the pace with the new ball. You know what I mean? And somebody was saying, well, Kohli handles pace well, which he does, and Kohli, which I'll let you talk about, put himself in an open partnership. So I guess that's why they went with Rashid, because I guess his weakness is spin. So they went with Rashid. I mean, he got himself a wicket. He had a 780 economy rate, and I'm saying, Gabe, I know you guys saying, Gabe, why would a 780 economy rate be impressive? Oh, it was impressive today compared to what the rest of the squad did. A 780 economy rate, 4 overs, 31 runs, and a wicket. That's an impressive economy rate. And I think the last person I'm going to talk about is my man Sam Curran. All right, Sam Curran, 3 balls, 14 runs. Now, he was CSK's best player, Nick, last year. One of the best players they had. They had a lot of players out with injury. There was no, Dhoni was not Dhoni last year. No Reina because of COVID. CSK was a mess. But consistently, other than Faf, the most consistent player on CSK was Sam Curran. And he proved it today. All right. They only gave him 1 over to bowl, which was kind of curious to me. I don't know what he did. He gave up 11 runs. Okay. Who didn't? Everybody got pumped when they were bowling. And they batted him. And I'll talk about the way I hit it that later. Almost dead last. Okay. But 14 runs, 3 balls, 2 sixes. Did England not watch the IPL? Just curious. Sam Curran, good on you, kid. Good on you. But Nick, that's what I loved about this match. My friend, you've got a lot more to love than I do.
Is there anyone else you'd like to mention? Maybe the prime minister of some country or so? I mean, you got the entire list right there. It's hilarious. I'm like, Gabe, let's try to get this down in a certain amount of minutes. On what he liked. I know what he dislikes going to be twice as long. Holy cow. What did I like? From anything that's left over, let me see. And to be fair with Sam, it was a 20th over. Okay, there's nothing to lose, he did a great job, but let's not make him out to be the next great batsman. Let's just slow down there. Sky was fantastic, because the thing with Sky, and this is one of the things I liked in the series, but especially in this match, he had that opening 50 in his debut. I still can't believe it's his debut. That's just crazy to me. His debut 57, right? So much talent, so deep in this squad. And Kohli decided to take one of the batsmen out in this match and put an extra bowler in there, which I think was a very good move. Unless you're talking about that extra bowler being Sundar, which I think Sundar would have been there anyways. But talk about Sky has that great debut, and then you get a chance to go again because Kohli was really impressed and whatnot. And he goes out there for 32. I mean, this is how deep this squad is, where at the first match, he was probably like your 13th, 14th guy. And now he's back-to-back matches. He's like one of your top 3 batsmen. So it's absolutely impressive what he did. Rohit Sharma in this match and in a lot of matches in this series, you can't talk about India brilliance without talking about Rohit Sharma. And I didn't get to see any of it. I was sitting there sleeping like a baby, but he was helping me have some good dreams there, because he got 64 runs on 34 balls, strike rate of 188 as an opener. What me and Gabe have seen since 2021 started in cricket is the side with the opening batsman that goes down is the side that's going to lose for the most part. And there's something about like India and the opposing team, that's their kryptonite, is that opening, that number 1 guy, whether it's Joe Burns, Rory Burns, Jason Roy. I mean, they just can't last for too long. But Rohit Sharma's put on a clinic on how to do it. And last year, when Mumbai won their 5th championship, and that's not a drive-by, I have a point for saying this. When they won it, I don't think that was Rohit's finest year. But he led them to that championship. As a batsman, he had some bad spells. Look at what he's doing in international. 64, absolutely impressive. And he's coming off what he did in Test, obviously. Kohli with 80. What I loved was Kohli, and this is why I was calling for him to be the man of the match, because I feel like from what I've seen, this series, but specifically this match, he put on a captaincy masterclass. He talks about He basically showed without saying words, Nick, you doubt my captaincy? Let me show you what a captain does. Because this guy, I mean, every move he made was basically gold, for crying out loud. Talk about Washington Sundar, who everyone likes. This guy has made an impression on the test squad, the T20 squad. He's not a scrub whatsoever. He goes out there in one of the early overs and he gives up 11 or whatever it was, right? He gives up 13. Unlucky 13. He didn't see another over for the rest of the match because Kohli was sitting there. Kohli didn't buckle under pressure. He sees England coming out with that big partnership, and he made the decision, not right now. I'm thinking with Sundar, and with the other bowlers, it was over by over. Who can get us some stability? And Washington Sundar's number just didn't come up. But I think that was a brilliant move because Sundar, whether he didn't have enough spin, it was too flat. I'm not sure what was going on with Sundar, but I like him as a bowler and as a player. But Kohli made the right decision. We can't get you in right now. We're going to see what's going on. I loved what he did. I thought his batting performance, him opening. Again, someone said like in T20s for RCB, he's got 4 centuries as an opener. I haven't seen him open once in the last year and a few months. Not once have I seen him open. And he takes the call, the marbles, to put himself in at number 2 and say, we got to seal this up. We got to show the world who's number 1 squad is. I'm super impressed with Virat Kohli, not just because of his 80, because of his captaincy, because of how he weathered that trouble-looking storm that we had, almost that perfect storm with Milan and Butler. And, of course, you give credit to Bhuvi. You give credit to the other bowlers, but I think he gets a lot of credit, and I got to talk about Bhuvi. This guy was the man. Of all the bowlers that showed up today, he was the number 1 guy in these 2 squads that are number 1 and number 2 ranked. He went out there. Me and Gabe haven't seen a lot about him. He went out there and he showed. He didn't even just like have a few less economy rate. He put on a master class, and he showed this is how you bowl. I don't care if the track is fast. I don't care if it's flat. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. His placement was perfect. Where he was getting his accuracy off the pitch near those stumps was perfect. He was just absolutely a game wrecker, a game changer. And if India does not have him, I don't think they win, even though they won by 36 runs. He was so impressive. There's so many things for me to like. I can't mention them all. I love what Hardik Pandya did. He gave a lot of runs in the first over, then he settled down. Even Thakur giving up 1 million runs, he's going to get those wickets. So much to like, Gabe.
I mean, to your point, Kohli was the leading scorer. He had 231 in this 5-game series. Mind you, he had a duck in one of the games, all right? And I think one in another one, 231. So that's impressive. And Bhuvi, Jason Roy had 2 40s already, 47, 49. Bhuvi didn't even let him get started, bro. Took him out right away, first over, second time he's done it in the series. And then on top of that, he gets the most important wicket, which you mentioned, changed the complexity of this match because it looked like England was going to chase it down. It really did. 130 partnership between Butler and Milan, and Bhuvi breaks it up. So you're right. He was exceptional today. That's where Gabe eats some crow because in the stream, Azjad set me up.
I don't know why you do it.
Azjad set me up because he's like, who would you go with India? You know what I mean? Who would you go with as far as the championship? And I'm like, you got to go with the Pacers. You got to go with, because it's going to be in India for the T20 championship. So you got to go with Mohammad Shami and you got to go with Bumrah. And you can just see the look on Azjad's face like I was blaspheming or something. To my defense, Bhuvi had been hurt in the IPL. He was hurt in the IPL, so we didn't see a lot of him. So this is the first series. But holy, I mean, he was a man amongst boys out there today. He really showed, and you guys know I love Jofra Archer. He said, "This is how you bowl out here, cousin." Holy cow! It was a clinic. It was an absolute clinic, man. You know, let me get to what I hate. First and foremost, I do not understand. England sometimes makes some decisions that are just baffling to me, absolutely baffling to me. And okay, starting off with bowling, right? You win. This is the second consecutive toss you win, and you decide to chase and lose, by the way, and lose. So you had everything set up the last 2 games, and you still lost. Why would you go with a spinner when this you know what I mean? When this track, and again, hindsight being 2020, Rashid was their best bowler, but you want to give that new ball to Archer. He's so deadly with that new ball. Give him that new ball. Try to get a wicket early. All right. Do what India did. Don't let a guy even get started. Get him, don't let him get comfortable. Let him get comfortable in the crease. Why not give the new ball to Archer or Wood, who I think he had one at 151 the other day, bro. 151 kilometers. Give them the new ball. It just doesn't make sense to me, their mentality. That's one thing I hated. Another, Jason Roy got dismissed on a beautiful ball by Boovie. That was a beautiful over. I cannot even complain. He was under pressure since ball one. I mean, it was just masterful how he worked that. It was a maiden wicket over. I'm not even mad about that.
One run. But yeah, still pretty good.
Not by Jason Roy. He didn't score at all.
No, so, he got a duck. He got out in the second ball, but it wasn't a maiden wicket over.
Right. He gave up one more. I see what you're saying. Thank you for the correction there. But for me, all right, I'm not mad at Jason Roy. Okay, Milan and Butler did their job. They put up 130. But here comes Bairstow. And I was saying he's the biggest guy in this game because the last game, which, by the way, in hindsight, people are going to say, oh, yeah, India won this series. They won by 8 runs that second game. And Bairstow threw away his wicket. The fourth game, I should say. Sorry. It was the game 4. They won by 8 runs. It was that close. And Bairstow ridiculously, stupidly threw his wicket away, okay? And it just drives me crazy. Sometimes you see Bairstow like come up the crease on a guy that's, bowling 150 kilometers per hour. What are you doing? Why are you charging? It just does stuff like that doesn't make sense. And once again today, 7 runs, 7 overs. Jihan set me up. Because he was like, Gabe, so is Bairstow, before we even got in there, is Bairstow garbage? And he pulled up old clips of myself saying it's hard to say Bairstow is garbage because you've seen him go out and get 50s and 80s and 100s. This guy can score prolifically, but then you can see him throw away his wicket stupidly. And he does it when he's aggressive. He comes in, that entire at-bat, you said at one point in the stream, you said, keep swinging, it's going to give you a cold, because he's missing the ball, because he's trying so hard instead of establishing the partnership with the guy who's already been on strike for a while, Milan, who's hot. Give him the strike, rotate the strike, and no, he goes ahead, gives up his wicket within 2 overs, 7 balls, and here comes the batting collapse. Bairstow is so undisciplined. That's what I hated. It is ridiculous. Yes, do I hate the bowling that got pumped? 2 guys, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, both above the hootie line. Yes, but I blame the pitch for that, a flat track. Nobody blames the track right when it's flat and everybody's getting pumped. Everybody wants to blame the track when it's spinning and all the wickets are coming down. Who's complaining about the flat track now? Everybody got pumped out there today with the exception of Boovie, all right? Everybody gave up tons of runs. Are guys supposed to be giving up 10, 11, 14 economy rates in T20? But nobody complains about the flat track, right? We all complain when the track is spinning, all right? But even with that, Bairstow couldn't score, bro. He's on the permanent signature sixes. Bro, you cannot make it up. It's so frustrating. It's selfish. It's selfish, man. Gosh, just rotate the strike. Rotate the strike. Give it to Milan. Milan was on fire. Okay, I do not understand. He's selfish and undisciplined, and he is now back on the sinister six permanently, bro. I can't even make it up. And finally, I get it. This was a very expensive pitch. It was a flat track, right? Both teams. Listen, in a game where England lost 8 wickets, they still put up 188. So it was a flat track. All right. It was. You saw what India went out there and did. But that's no excuse to give up 53 runs, Mark Wood, and 57 runs, Chris Jordan. You deserve to be on the Jordan line. We're naming it after you again. All right? Horrible. Getting pumped for runs. They should have took showers when they got back to the hotel and washed that stink off of them. Bro, they were serving up cookies up there. They were serving up cookies. Jihan said something super funny. They call this a buffet match because everybody's just helping themselves. Helping themselves. Embarrassing Chris Jordan. Embarrassing Mark Wood. 53, 57. Bro, combined, they gave up 110. They had a century combined. 110, actually. Good job. That's what their partnership was. Oh, my gosh. Nick, what did you not like?
You got to remember, Gabe. Mark would give up 53 runs. You got to remember that.
But the puns.
But I think that was the greatest drive-by in the history of drive-bys. You set it up like a comedy sketch artist talking about the flat pitch, and even Bairstow can't. That's when I lost it. That was an amazing setup drive-by. What did I not like? There's not much I didn't like. Honestly, there's not much. It's easy to pick on Sundar with his 13 economy rate, but he only went one over. Pandya gave up 17 or 18 his first over, and he was able to calm down a little bit. It's hard for me to choose some I did not like. I love that rant by Gabe. Absolutely. That was fantastic. Yeah. So Pandya, after getting up 18 his first over or 17, he only gave up 16 the other 3 overs. So, I mean, you never know what he didn't look right, though, I'll tell you, in today. He just didn't feel like he had it, but it was just one over. I didn't like how expensive Thakur was. He got up 45, but, man, this guy gets big wickets. Like, you're sitting there, and we're all ready to turn on him in the chat. We're like, oh, Thakur, he's garbage. He's got a wicket? He got another one? Okay, you're pretty cool, Thakur. We like you a lot. So, I'm just going to harp on England. Sorry. I'm an England fan, but I'm going to lose all my fans right now. But this is the crazy thing about all the other matches were close matches, right? Yes, some won by 8 wickets here and there, but they were all close matches as far as the score goes because it was always that chasing team who was able to chase or not. And in this one, they won by 36 runs. Look at the wickets. Yes, Jason Roy goes down before he even gets a chance to put both feet on the ground for crying out loud. And Gabe said, I can't even get that mad at him. You can't get mad at Jason Roy because he wasn't there long enough for you to get mad at him. He was just hello, goodbye, and good night or whatever that phrase is. But after that, there was not another wicket that fell until the 13th over. The second to last ball of the 13th over, or the last ball of the 13th over with Butler. That was such a big wicket, but it's not, to your point, it's not Butler's fault. And then it was just like dominoes after that. They had one wicket going almost into the 13th over. And they ended the match with 8 wickets. It was crazy. They could not cut the bleeding. And I do agree. I think Butler's wicket was the biggest one, but I do agree that Bairstow one just let the floodgates open up. And someone had mentioned, like, he just can't help himself. You're not ever going to get anything but a catch on that. We saw Sam Kerr in the 20th over do on the opposite side. He got a 6 off of it. So it's just – and I do think the Dew played – I don't ever mention the Dew. But after learning more and more about cricket, I do believe there was a lot more due in the second innings for England, which was unfortunate for them. I think I did play a factor. And the crazy thing, I mean, I won't get into too much about the toss because the toss is what the toss is, but it worked out. It worked out that England chose to bowl first because India really, really got hooked up there. They performed well. I don't have much dislike. Love the rant. Gabe, what'd you learn?
What I learned, on both sides really, is that these are the number 1 and 2 team test teams. And even as a West Indian fan, I got to admit, I'm nervous, man. If you watch this series, how it played out, it's going to look like, yes, India victory 3-2, right? But that 4th game was up for grabs, and that's why I'm so mad at Bairstow, because I feel like he cost them that game, and in this one, he just laid down, all right? He absolutely killed the momentum. That's what started the collapse. But these are very evenly matched teams, and we saw that David Malan, this is why Malan is considered the top, the top T20 cricketer in the world, all right? He's number 1. And you see what Butler can do. You also saw what Mark Wood can do. However, that comes with a caveat. People kept saying, Gabe, the reason they rest Mark Wood is because A, he's injury prone, and B, after he bowls a little bit or a couple games back to back, he loses potential, he loses stuff or whatnot. And you saw it today because he got absolutely pumped. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I realize how good both these sides are, Nick. And like I said, I am concerned. I was super confident. I was like, West Indies, we're gonna win the championship. Yeah, India probably gonna win the Test championship against New Zealand, but West Indies are gonna just defend their crown. And I've seen New Zealand in T20. I've seen Australia in T20. These are the top sides, right? I've seen my West Indies in T20. This might have been the best T20 match and series I've seen overall, where both sides are very, very close. Even though the New Zealand and Australia went, it was a 5-game series and it went 3-2 New Zealand's game. Those games weren't weren't as competitive, you know what I mean, as these last 2 games. Again, that 4th test match, Nick, I keep saying second because it was the last 2 I'm talking about, but that 4th test match came down to 8 runs, and really a remarkable spell by India, where I think it was your boy Thakur too. He ended up taking like 2 wickets in the 18th or 19th over. Like, it was that close, man. So West Indies fans, I am not folding here. I'm still rocking with our boys, but we got to be concerned. If we're being honest, we got to be concerned. Nick, what did you learn?
You said it perfectly when you said these 2 squads are super talented, are super good. And this series, even though, this series kind of went the way me and your rivalry goes, where I just edge you just by a little bit to show I'm better. This series still showed us, a great entertaining T20 5-game series where it was a slugfest and it was heavyweight versus heavyweight. So much fun to watch. But what I learned was there was a big difference. It's easy to pick on Bairstow. He's become one, and I honestly, I do kind of feel bad that we have these certain guys that we pick on a lot. We do it for entertainment. We do it tongue in cheek. We're not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. But I don't blame Bairstow for this series. I don't. What I learned is that it's tough. It is tough for the number 1 T20 squad, which they were coming in, to perform well when your captain doesn't really show up. Owen Morgan, we mentioned this at the very end of the stream. There was 2 matches he didn't get in at all, okay? Because England scored a bunch of runs, right? There was 2 matches he didn't get in at all. But do you know he got in the last 3 matches, right? The 3rd match, he scored 28. That's a decent T20 score. You'll take 20 or 28 from every guy, even if you lose 8 wickets, right? That's a decent score. He got 5 combined in the last 2 matches, and he got into the match. 5 combined the last 2 matches, the 2 losses where they could. It was looking like they were going to go 4-1 after they won the 3rd match, for crying out loud. 5 in 2 matches. It's tough. It is tough. Yeah. I forgot to mention him. When your captain is not able to do that for you. And we have been spoiled when it comes to Owen Morgan, because we have seen masterful after masterful performance by him in the T20 and the ODIs that we've watched him play, because we watched a lot of England so far, to the point where you think, like, this guy, he's just that good, right? And we were making jokes about Ireland losing him or whatever. He didn't show up. And it's not like it was a not out. He got bowled out both times the last 4 matches. Right. And look at what happened, right? So that's what I learned. It's tough. And the same thing went with Kohli when they were struggling. Again, India's got such high expectations that even when they win a series and they lose a few matches, it's Kohli's fault, right? And I'm one of the first ones to call that out. I'm not going to shy away from that. But you have to have your captain lead it. And did Kohli not put on a masterclass once again of how to captain your team in a tough match, tough series?
What's funny? Here's the difference. Kohli said, this is a huge game. We want to win the series. He put himself at 2, not out. Owen Morgan saw his team collapse and put himself up in there like, okay, I better get in here. I give him credit for that. I think he put himself at 4 or 5 once the wicket started falling. Usually he bats. And yeah, that's the difference, all right? Because even at that point, the game was still salvageable. If he comes up and puts up 28 like he did in that 3rd test match, I think got to do his whole T20 match, that's the game, because it's 188. But he did not step up. So you're right. We give Kohli a lot of flack when he doesn't perform or doesn't lead his team to a victory. We've got to give him credit when he does. I'm glad you mentioned that as well. This was probably the best series we've seen of Kohli so far, and this was his moment in the last year, leading his team to a huge series win. But Owen Morgan, man, I mean, just disappointing. And Owen Morgan's part of the guy making those decisions. You know, I was so angry at Burstow, but I'm glad you mentioned him. Why not? And I get it. People are going to say, well, Jofra Archer can hit the stick. He had 18 in that second game that almost was chased down. And I think in that, not second, oh gosh, I keep saying second, the fourth game that was chased down. And I think Jordan had 12 and he could swing the stick. Yes, those guys can. And in that game, Sam Curran had a 3. Yes, but Sam Curran is a proper all-rounder. He is known for his stick, okay? Why bowl him just 1 over today? Why bat him behind those guys? You know what I'm saying? Like you made those decisions. Why? You're the captain. Why bring in Rashid with the new ball when you know Archer is deadly with the new ball, especially in limited formats? You know what I'm saying, dude? It was just like, we got to question his captaincy and the decisions he made, just like we would be questioning Kohli, or, you know, just like we would be,
Tim Payne,
okay, Jason Holder.
Yep.
Guys, tell me I'm wrong here, okay? You justify what was the plan behind bringing in Rashid, taking a new ball away from your guys on this flat track, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Where you're going to be able to get those wickets and maybe get an edge with that new ball and the pace. I just don't understand that. So good call. I'm glad you brought that up. I miss Owen because I was so angry at the bowling and at Bairstow. But guys, this was an unbelievable series. Thank you guys for everybody that showed up. Man, we had like 400 people in there at one time with us. It was so much fun. CFA Nation always comes to represent. Again, in the same stream, I ate crow about 3 times. Thanks for that, Ozjod. Gabe, what do you think? Is Boovie now in the playing 11, you know, for the T20? I'm like, no, Muhammad Shami.
Shut
up, Gabe. Go eat some. And then, I'm sorry, Nick sets me up too. Hey, so who do you think's going to be the important player for England? And then, Bairstow. Shut up, Gabe. You know what I'm saying? And then Jihan sets me up too. So is Bairstow garbage, Gabe? Would you call him garbage? No, I wouldn't call him garbage. He plays the recording on me, bro. It was a whole bunch of crow pot pie for me.
You got ganged up on, that's for sure.
It was a whole bunch of crow pot pie for me, brother. Let me just tell you. Oh, it was rough.
And you know, we forgot this a few episodes ago, so we're gonna get at the very end. You have just watched our 3 wickets. We forgot about it again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts. We know you're going to share, which we love to hear and read them. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for getting us to 10,000 subscribers. Here's to another 10,000 moving forward. With all that being said, until next time.
That's 6 runs.